Today we're going to bring you something different. It's a craft single brought to you from Craft Creative. No, it's not a marketing minute or conversations about marketing. What we want to do is we want to single out important people within our community. Now, everyone in our community is important, but we want to recognize people for their good deeds and their good services within the community. Well, today we're going to interview a philanthropist that a lot of us know and love in the Charleston community, Mr. Mickey Bakst of the Charleston Grill. We want to recognize Mickey for his achievements. We want to discuss his life and all the great things that he's done for the community from yesterday to today. Let's go interview Mickey.
Hello, Mr. Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Bakst. Good seeing you, man.
It's great to see you, buddy.
Mickey, how in the hell did we get here, man?
I don't know. You made a phone call. You said, come. I've been doing the same stuff for so long, you know, and apparently I must have done something you liked.
Well, you did something right, Mickey. Just to be totally honest, my wife and I have dined in your restaurant for over 10 years. Every birthday, every anniversary, we celebrated with you guys. And it's not because the food's good, Mickey. It's because the people are good.
Well, thank you. I thought it was because she liked me and didn't know how to break it to you.
She thought you were cute, but it's because the people are good.
Thank you.
And there's something I read about you a while ago, and I'm an old food and bev guy from years ago before, but it says you're old school. And you always talk about how important the people are and how important it is for you to make sure that people have a good time, not just a good damn meal, but a good time. Why is it so important for you to make sure that people have a good time when they come here?
You know, I have been in the restaurant industry for 45 years, so I've seen. I came through the rise of the celebrity chef, then the rise of the sommeliers, then the rise of the mixologists, then the rise of whatever the hell it is today. You know, from the food farm to table movement and the institutionalization of how restaurants looked, everything became the same to me in a lot of cases. And what happened with the chefs, all of a sudden the chefs were more important. Then the wine guys were more important. Then this person was more important. And people were more worried about what they knew than what the customer wanted. You know, an example of that is you have somebody who thinks that this is the greatest wine. Wine A is the greatest wine in the world. It's not the greatest wine in the world unless you love it. You know, if I poured you and your wife a dry, bone-dry red Burgundy, even though it was the greatest wine on the list, if you don't like it, it doesn't mean anything.
That's true.
And I watched a movement away in the way that service was going in this country, away from the importance of you, the guest, and your experience to people flaunting their egos and what they thought was important. And I happen to believe with all of my heart that, number one, you walk through our door, you give us the pleasure of taking care of you. It's a privilege, and it is something we have to hold sacred. I was raised that way in the industry. I don't know that people are being raised that way in some organizations. I believe wholeheartedly that, as you said, you could have the greatest chefs in the world prepare your meal. But if it's not served in an atmosphere that makes you feel welcome, feel loved, feel warm and comfortable, you're never going to go back again. And we're in business. Listen, don't think that I don't think about business. But I think good business starts with good treatment of our guests, of any guest. That's how our relationships come. You just started this off by saying you come for birthdays, you come for anniversaries for 10 years because you feel special when you're in here. Absolutely. You can get a good meal in a dozen places or more, and many more.
There's times, Mickey, where you've used good food, and we talked about it a little bit right before we started shooting about how you've used food, good food, to be able to reach outside of the restaurant. I mean, you've done things for, like the Bow Affair, and helping, young children come in and giving them the full dining experience on what it's like. Some kids that may never be able to come here or think they would never be able to come here and have a meal, you give them that experience. How important is that to you?
I can't put that in words. Here's the reality of it. No restaurant, no business stands by itself. If I don't count on all of these people to be part of our family, and I turn my back on my community, we'll fail. Me as a human being, I happen to believe we're all connected. I say repeatedly over and over and over again, the single most important word in my language is the word we. On my own, I'm shit. I can't survive. I can't make it. But with the community of people around me, I can soar. And I think that for me, being part of the community is paying back for the health I get. I am cared for and I am loved, and I don't mean that arrogantly, but I feel that, and I feel it's my responsibility. I always say it's incumbent upon us as human beings to do what we can do for others. And so I've incorporated it, I'll be very blunt, I've incorporated it for the benefit of the business. Over Christmas time, we have a charity Feed the Need. I had customers come in and without asking, hand me close to $40,000 worth of checks.
Mickey, you brought up community. You said without the community, you're pretty much nothing.
Nothing.
It's a date in June. I think everyone just woke up and we heard some really bad news about something that happened not too far from here with Mother Emanuel Church. Charleston's known for a lot of restaurants, great food. You used this restaurant, your name, your reputation, and all your good deeds to do some good things for some very good people, some really good families. I remember dining here around that time, and you made sure that I didn't leave without knowing exactly what you were involved in, and it had no benefit to the restaurant, but all the benefit was for the people and for the family. Right. Mickey, many of us went to bed early that night and we woke up with some horrible news, and some of us were up that night and we heard the horrible news. How did you feel the minute you heard the news about what happened at Mother Emanuel?
I operate differently. I get past the grief instantly and I go right to what can I do. I don't dwell on the tragedy of it, and I've done big events like that numerous times here in the city. I don't think that I think about, oh my God, that's horrible. I think about the people and what can be done to help them. And I think the difference between me and some other people who have great intention, I think the difference is I act, I don't think. I act, I don't think. When I'm going to step back, when the Charleston 9, the firefighters died, I woke up, I said, this is god awful. What are we going to do? I made phone calls. I first called my boss, and I'm going to say this, and I hope it stays in the tape. I couldn't do any of this without the Belmont Charleston place, because my boss, Paul Stracy, gives me the freedom to do it. And we talked about this. I woke up with the Emanuel, and I thought, I got to do something. And the truth is, it was my boss who called me and said, Mickey, I know you want to do it.
Because it was on your heart.
Oh, it was already there. Go. I already had the whole thing figured out in probably less than 2 minutes. But it was him who said go, and then I could go. I think that if I can help people in tragic times, that's one of the gifts I've been given. And it is not something that I studied for. It's not something I think about. It's something that just happens, I see situations that I can do something about, and I respond. It is not that I'm better than the next person. I just have a nature that says just do it. Whereas a lot of people tend to think about it and they dwell on it, but they don't get up and do it.
Now I'm bringing it back to the restaurant.
Yeah.
Tell me about this awesome place that we're in right now called the Charleston Grill.
I came down here at the request of Chef Bob Wagner.
Yep.
And Bob was looking for somebody to help him with the restaurant, the front of the house. I think that with the team that I have here, they have many of them. Andrew, you just saw, he's been here 11 years. It's really unusual in the restaurant industry. It's very unusual. I think that we have created a team that is geared unconditionally towards serving you. Plain and simple. My team's goal is to, from every aspect, whether it's the servers or the bartenders or the hostesses, and equally as important, Michelle Weaver in the kitchen. Our job is to create a magnificent experience for you. We do it in the Charleston Place Hotel, which in itself is historic in Charleston. This is the building that Joe Riley built in 1986 for the sole reason of revitalizing the area that had died. The history on this building, even though it's short, is fascinating. This lot here was an empty, vacant place. Houses were down, retail was gone. You know, there was nothing here. There were hookers and drug dealers and crime. That's all there was in this area. And Joe Riley had this vision of bringing people back to Charleston. And his first vision was he needed to create a district where people could shop and stroll. And this building between King and Meeting Street was his vision of the crossover between the two major thoroughfares. Mm-hmm. And by building this, he changed the course of Charleston's history.
Oh, I've seen it, lived it.
You know? Yeah. So we're right here in the Charleston Place Hotel. Michelle Weaver, I think, has unconditionally the finest food in this city. And I don't say that disrespectfully to any of my friends. She's using ingredients that nobody else can afford to buy. She's creating flavors that just pop. They just pop in your mouth. And we're taking her food and our service and creating an experience, I think was the word you used, for our guests in an absolutely old school, beautiful setting. And by old school, we have tablecloths, we have different wine glasses, we have beautiful silverware. You know, we spend the money to keep this the most pampered, to create the most pampered experience we can for you. I love this restaurant. We add to that and everything I've said, incredible music 7 nights a week. It's incredible music 7 nights a week. We have live jazz. We have great musicians who come in here. It's a magical place. I've been doing this now for 14 years here, and they're going to have to drag me out or else push my wheelchair.
Well, Mickey, I think honestly knowing you has been magical.
Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.